Okay, good afternoon, folks. I hope everyone is well. Thought I'd have a whiskey as it's Friday. Strudadair, Bunnahabhain Strudadair, 46% ABV, non-chill filtered. Let's hope we have a good day today. So, same again. Very little price action overnight. It's really hard to trade this overnight. There's not really much you can do. But yeah, we just had a couple of little legs up and a leg down, so just nothing really. So I did pick up a couple of evaluations this morning. As they're cheap, I picked up a $25,000 one, kind of by accident actually, which I passed. And I've picked up another one that I took $1,000 off the puppy's nose. I took that bar there on the range bar, and that fell straight the way down towards its mouth. So he's been quite lucky. So Karina, good morning to you. Exponential, how you doing? Kenny, excellent. Price action was pretty good towards yesterday. Let me have a look. It did pick up a little bit. We had a lot of this, didn't it? But it did pick up. But we can't be very far. Dinosaur. Yes. Yeah, I don't know what that little back bit is there. Kind of is a bit dinosaurish, isn't it? It's got no teeth though, so... but yeah, that's my little, it just looked like a little dog or something, didn't it? Daryl, how you doing, buddy? I don't want to delete it. So yeah, it's a bit odd that, isn't it? Push up, sort of consolidation down a bit, push up, consolidation down, and a drop out at the end. That's my third year. That was my third. Just said. David, good morning. Do you think we will get a 90%? Hard to say, mate. Someone else asked me that yesterday. I think Tony did. The trouble is at the moment they've got an 80% off, which finishes on the 6th of July, which is obviously 2 days after the 4th. So it's hard to say, really. Sometimes they just bring one out of the blue. Sometimes they don't. It's tough to say, really. What day is the 4th, isn't it? Isn't it next Friday? No, it can't be, can it? Oh, yeah, maybe it is. Let's have a look. So market, market is open. So it is Friday, isn't it? The 4th. Excuse me just a sec. Sorry, Matt. What was I saying? Tough to say. I'm not so sure, to be honest with you. You just never know where they're going to do these things. But what I will say is I think the chances are less likely as this offer goes until the 6th. But we can keep our fingers crossed, can't we? So I'm just looking at this MES chart up here. This is what I've got trading my penguin type strategy, and yesterday we've kind of fitted in there relatively nice. We've opened this morning 2 legs down a bounce, and we've got a bounce here as well, a couple of bounces. So channel down with the break, 2 pushes lower. There may be something here, 2 legs back and a move up. It's tough to say, really. It's not what I would call a great setup, so I'm just going to do nothing on that at the moment. Channel down, 2 attempts to push higher. So now you may have this in one channel, and I don't think that looks too bad. So we may get 2 attempts to push up here. If we get a setup here, I might take this.
Order submitted.
It's quite a big bar though, isn't it? I don't think it's going to set up, is it? Yeah, I don't like that wick. Has anybody got a better looking bar than that or not? It is a second entry short, but the bar's naff.
Order cancelled.
I have reloaded mine. Is no one got a better? Big T's, yeah. It may work. So on the range bars, it looks okay. The only issue I have, we've got this channel down here with a break, 2 pushes to a new low. So you just got to be a bit cautious here, but I like this. and it may still work, but I just don't like that. If it was a solid bar, it wouldn't be so bad. But I would prefer a couple of other bullish bars here trapped, which we haven't got. So we may still get a push up and then a short. It's hard to say. You know, we could still get something like that. I would actually prefer that. Let's have a look. Lucky bugger. Thomas Wade's got a nice bar. I bet he's going to take that. Let's have a look. No trigger on his chart. Oh, it hasn't triggered. No, it hasn't as yet, has it? But he's got a good bar there. It didn't trigger there, so we're going to have to rely on that. He had a good solid bar. Let me just bring that in for you. So that's Thomas Wade's chart. He's got a lovely looking bar, but it obviously hasn't triggered. That's the type of trade I would absolutely have a go at, expecting it maybe to come down to the lows. It probably still will, to be honest with you, but as we haven't got anything. But unfortunately, it never triggered. It's triggered now, but there's nothing you can really do now. You've got to wait for that second leg up, or fail breakout, whichever way what you want to call it. We want a second leg up here. Take out this stop, and then form up there. So we may get lucky. You never know. So let me just draw our overnight highs and our overnight lows. Your bars are the same as mine. Okay, so let's see. We may get lucky. A leg up sideways, leg up, giving us something up here. It may still. If we get above here, then in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's just get an order up here ready. I'll be ready for it. We've got to get above there. If we can get above there, which I think is probably likely, we may have a quick push, a push up, and then a bearish bar. Okay, we're above that, so that's good. Now, there's no reason why we would retrace here, so we're looking for a tick above that. We're looking for a bearish bar now. Okay, perfect measured leg. We want a bearish bar now. I get a bearish bar here, I shall take this. 2 legs. You can't mistake that for a channel up, I don't think. Oh, you git. That's what we didn't want. Trouble is, that's a shame. That if that was a bearish bar, I'd have been all over that like a rash. Not really much I could
Order
do.
canceled.
I mean, you could argue we've already had a new, you know what I mean? So that's a possibility as well. So there is a possibility we've done that. A break, new low. So we've got 2 legs back. We'll see. If I look at the range bar, we've already had a break and a new low. So I think you've got to sit tight here. Yeah, see, Thomas Wade's got that. It's a good job it didn't trigger, because Thomas Wade would have taken that. Because he's got that as a wider channel. I just tend to be a little bit cautious of that. Okay, so we got a little double top with a bearish bar there. I'll only take this if we get a lower high, just in case that's... but if this pushes up there, which is looking like it's going to, then just be careful there. See if we get a lower high. It could come down, bounce off this midline and push back up. So a lower high, I'd have a go at this. So let's have a look at what they're saying. I have a bigger range from overnight hose. Overnight hose. Let's have a look. Having it wider and kept having to adjust it overall look weird. Starting to think this may be a downtrend that's already had a break new low. Okay, so he's thinking, he hasn't posted his chart, but he's thinking break new low, which can only mean that doesn't mean it can't still come down here. But you got to be careful here. Now, if this turns down now, there's a lower high. But my gut feeling is it's going to break above there. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. It's bound to. It's too easy not to, really. There's going to be some shorts in that. There's no doubt about it. Let's see if it holds. My guess is it'll break above it. Not only that, if you look at the bigger picture on the MES, we're still in this kind of range channel. It looks very neat. We're clearly working in there, and we've had a double bounce on this bottom, which is telling me it's likely to push up. So the bigger picture on the MES is telling me we're more likely to go up, and there we go. So if you'd have taken that, if you'd have had that channel down there, there'd have definitely been traders taking that, and it wouldn't be the worst looking trade in the world, to be honest, with a little double top, nice measured leg. But the overall picture over the days is still up at the moment, so you've got to be careful there. See if we got a chart from Dan yet. No, not really. It's too old, that. Yeah, that's one thing Thomas Wade does that Dan doesn't. Thomas Wade usually opens the chart up wider, quicker, whereas Dan keeps things a bit tighter. It never triggered that. Oh, hold on a minute. I thought it looked a bit better last time I looked on his chart. Never triggered on that first bar anyway, so he wouldn't have taken that anyway. We have got some news as well coming up in about 15, 16 minutes thereabouts. Yeah, that was Thomas Wade's first chart. The bar's nice, so he's just got a slightly different bar, so I'm guessing he hadn't reloaded his. Now he's reloaded it. It looks the same as ours, really, so you can do about it. So oof. It's been a really slow week, hasn't it? I've done hardly anything this week, to be honest with you. I took a trade on Monday. I think it was late Monday. And I took a trade just on my Traderfy account, one trade just for $150 yesterday, but I've taken nothing on my Apex accounts this week, I don't think. There has been a couple of trades that I've missed. One particular I missed. The second one, my bar was rubbish. It was a couple of days ago. Although I had reloaded. But it's been a really quiet week. So I'm up a tiny bit this week, but it hasn't been a particularly easy week. But it kind of works like that sometimes, doesn't it? And then other times you'll take two nice trades early on, and that'll kind of set you up for the week. I wish. So let's just see how everybody else is doing today.
How was this move here?
So how's Nutty doing? Nutty's up a bit. He trades, Nutty trades the open at night, doesn't he? Well, it's night for me. 6 o'clock-ish for you guys. He does quite a bit of trading there because he usually starts the stream up a little bit. I don't think Alpine's trading today. He had another bad day yesterday. I think he's down $75,000 over the last couple of days, which is certainly a stinger. So I do watch from time to time Tom Hugard. I know it sounds a bit morbid, but I like seeing him take a loss. Not because I want him to lose, because it just goes to show that someone who's a seasoned professional trader who's been around for donkey's years, who's traded with some of the more well-known names in the business, takes losses. I saw him take 2 losses on a trade I randomly looked at a couple of months ago. So, I think we tend to think the better the trader you are, the more trades you lose. You don't. It doesn't work that way, does it? One thing I'm starting to realise, I always thought the better traders just don't take any losses. They do. They just manage them really well. They manage the risk well. In fact, I think he's in a trade now, isn't he? There's his stop loss there. There's his take. Have a look. Okay, so he shorted this. What's this? Wall Street 30. So he shorted this big push up and he shorted it. There's his stop loss up here. Where's his? So he's got his take profit. He hasn't dragged it down yet. I'm assuming that's what that's for. I don't know what chart this is. TD365. And I don't even know what platform that is. But he's gone short there. So, yeah, I like watching Tom. He's an interesting guy. Oh, I think he's down here. He's bringing his, yeah. So what can you do here? It's just, the trouble is there's that little in the way at price action. It's very hard to really tell what we're doing. We've had that initial, so we opened here, we had a small push up and then a quick flush down. It often does that, I find. Sometimes you start with a bullish bar, it goes up a bit, comes down, takes the stop out, and we've had like 3 little bounces. And we've had a move up with a little bit of a break and a new high. So we've had hardly any. The more price action. BLW is required reading. BLW. You might have to explain what BLW is, mate. So we do look like we're working up a bit. Oh, Tom's, but oh, best loser wins. Yeah. Yeah, I've read it a couple of times. I say I've read it a couple of times. I've read the book once, and I've got it on. I'm a big fan of Audible. Cost me about £4 a month, £4 or £5 a month. This is what I'm doing at the moment. You see that, the mental game of trading. But I've got his book on here, Trading in the Zone. I've done. See that, can you? At the top. Trading in the Zone. I've done a bunch of times. Mental game of trading, mastering the mental game of trading. All, yeah. If anybody hasn't. Yeah, best loser wins. That's a good read, that is. That's one of Tom's books. Oh, I say one of them. I don't know if he's got any more. Hedge fund market wizard, forex trader, beginner's guide to the stock market investing guide, the trading Bible, beginners books 1 to 6. Trading futures online markets in the 21st century. Economics, the intelligent investor. I've done a bunch of them. The psychology of money. Debbie does. Oh, well, forget that one. You don't need to know about that. The Forex Bible, books 1 to 5. I Can Make You Confident, Paul McKenna. Yeah, I'm a fan of Audible. I like sticking. The trouble is, I wouldn't advise doing it in bed, because as soon as I put my earbuds on my head, it's the pillar. I'm out like a light. So I'll listen. Yeah, exactly. It's nice to listen to on the road, isn't it? I know when I was driving trucks, I'd listen to them on the road. I'd just plug it in and listen to them. Just make that. Debbie does. I was only kidding. I don't think Debbie does films anymore. They're years old here. It's been a real lame week, actually. I've done very little this week, which I'm not actually too sad about. There hasn't been a great deal, so the sensible thing to have done really is not much this week. So I'm all right with that. Yeah, I've never had any of the $25,000 accounts. I bought one by accident. I passed it. First one I've ever had, actually. I have got another one in the making as well. I thought I'd just grab a couple. As I'm only taking one trade and one loss, what I might do is switch over then to an evaluation or something if I do. I still like to get a few hours screen time in. Screen time in, rather. Oh, went on there. There's our friend Bart getting on today. Let's give him a like. I think he took a trade, actually. I think he took that bearish bar. If he did, it worked. He's got the same chart we're looking at, to be honest with you. He's a nice lad, Bart is. From Poland, he is. He was on the stream having a chat yesterday. He's a nice fella. There is some nice people out there. I do like having a chat with people. It's a lonely old business in this. You can never have too many friends in this business. And what I like about it, there's no competition. What I like about it, I don't know why it's doing that. What I like about it, there's no competition, because it doesn't matter whether I make money or someone else makes money. It doesn't affect us. You know, there's no sort of crossing paths. But that's Bart's channel, if you've not seen it. He's a really nice, friendly bloke. He's coming over to the UK soon, down south, I think. So I think we may meet up for a pint or two. But he's a nice bloke. Always been very supportive as me. Always been really friendly. So I like him. So I think he's up a trade today. As well, if he sees a trade, he takes it. He doesn't mess around. He sees a trade, he takes it. I don't think you realise how valuable what you are doing is to newer traders. 5 years ago, I wish I saw this type of patience being shown. I appreciate that, mate. I'm not always this patient. But I think the thing is with me is I'm trying to be a trader. I'm not a YouTuber. You know, I don't throw videos out there. All I'm doing really is just trying to make a business out of this and trying to learn to trade. That's it. You know, I don't kind of try to pretend I'm sort of anything I'm not really. You know, but what I like about it is a lot of you guys that have been around for a while have seen me sort of, you know, doing really well, and then you see me down in the dumps, you know, kind of struggling. But I'm not a YouTuber. I know people like Patrick Whelan. I think he's more YouTuber than trader. I do believe he makes money at trading, but he's more glitz and glamour and cars and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of people like that. There's nothing wrong with it. There's certainly a market out there for it. But just it doesn't interest me making videos. I have made maybe half a dozen for one reason or other, but not much. It just bores me. I just want to get, you know, come to the charts, try and figure out what's going on, make a bit of money, have a chat to a few other people, you know, like-minded people, and then just, you know, get off and have a drink. So, okay. Well, yeah, I was just thinking about that. So we got some news coming up in 2 minutes. But I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. It's always nice to have a nice comment, isn't it? Male toxic environment and male ego in this business, and two people with their opinions. It's definitely a male bit. I was quite surprised, actually. I was looking at the stats. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's have a look at them now. Let's have a look at my stats. Don't expect nothing too impressive. Let me just have a look at my stats. It's interesting, this sometimes. Let's just look at my stats. Analytics. Yeah, I'll share this with you if you want. This is May. Grand total of 2,200 odd subscribers. Let me just show you audience. Let me have a look. Yeah, so most... Okay, look at this. Age and gender, 100% male. Now, obviously, we know we got Karina, but I think she makes up such a small mind. But that amazes me that more women don't do this. Because I know a lot of women, you know, may stay at home with the kids. I'm stunned of how little women trade. I think women have a calmer mentality for trading. It just makes perfect sense that women would make better traders than men. But that just goes to show there's very few. That may be down to me, to be honest with you. I may be scaring them off. I'm really shocked. I just kind of look at the age as well. Kind of, I suppose the busiest is the 35 to 40s. I'm kind of in this bracket. Well, just moved into this one actually. But it amazes me when I know there's about 3 female streamers that I know of. There's probably more out there, but it's a very small, well, I say very small amount. It's almost non-existent. We know we got Karina. There's very few others. I think there's been maybe 2 or 3 other women that I've met kind of through my stream. But and I look at this, it's interesting to see, you know, where a lot of people are from. So I like geography, you know, kind of all over, sort of Argentina, Germany, Canada, United Kingdom. It's interesting, this having a look through sometime, but very, very small minority of traders are women. Tiny amount. Never quite got that. Little Hammer, how you doing, buddy? There, sorry, mate, I didn't see you. I've said hello to you, Tone, I think, haven't I? So, what are we doing here? It's not really very clear. We've had a channel here. In fact, what I would probably do now is do something like that, I think. That's usually how it works. We're pushing up quite a bit steeper now. That actually looks kind of nice. So really, it's kind of 2 legs up, more or less from that low, but it's not really giving us much, is it? It's a little bit messy, but it's kind of just a couple of legs up. But obviously the overall is bullish at the moment, isn't it? I'm all right, bud. I'm all right. So let me just have a look. All-time highs are coming up really quick. We're not far away at all. I bet we're not even 30 points away. Let's have a look. Look, I'll tell you one thing I will say about markets. If you're in even from an investor's point of view, if you had, let's say, for instance, you know, you had, now a lot of my pension is in the S&P 500 personally, because I think it's probably one of the best things you can invest in. But look how much that dropped, but look how quick it recovered just from early April. 2.5 months, and we've more or less recovered it. We're going to be up here very soon. So things really recover quick in this business, don't they? So we are, and I'm probably a little bit above that. So all-time highs are, let's say, around about there. So we are, at the moment, 60 points away. That's nothing really. We've had sort of 1, 2, 3 really bullish days. We've had a little, well, 2 days there. We've had a little day where we kind of just went sideways, and now we're having another push. So 2 bars, 2, 3 bars. It'd be interesting to see where we are by the end of the day, but I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest whether we're right up here. But it recovers so quick, doesn't it? I mean, in just, let's talk about yesterday. In just 3 days, you know, we're up 240 points. So, you know, this chart really recovers super quick. What the hell? So that looks about right. Nice tight channel up there. Definitely better to invest in US markets, I think, from an investor's point of view. I put all my pension in. I've got it in Vanguard at the moment. I put all my pension into the S&P 500, every penny of it. It's got a great track record, and not only that, you kind of invested in the best of the best. So I think over the last 20 years, isn't it yielded something like 10% per year? But over the last 10 years, I think it's, or the last 5 years, I think it's about 14%. There's not many things safer, really, is there? Obviously, there's, you know, you can make more money in other things, but obviously that, you know, the more potential profits, the more potential risks. But as for a nice steady growth, you can't do much better than this, really. I mean, if we have a credit crunch or another COVID, God forbid, or anything like that, it doesn't matter what you're invested in, it's going to take a hit. But just goes to show how much of a hit, this ES can take and then recover in 2 to 3 months. It's outrageous how quick it recovers. As soon as things start to settle and panic, what happens? The smart traders, jump straight in and buy it cheaper. So for a pension point of view, there's not many things really you can invest in for a good long-term return. So quick glance at this MES chart, the bigger chart. We got right down to the bottom. We had 2 bounces and it took off. So touch, 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 and then a quick bounce and then off it goes. So it just goes to show these are valid. What I was looking for is a couple of attempts to go lower. We kind of did, but it wasn't super clear. And that was, I was looking for a penguin setup. But you can clearly see how nice that's working. So yeah, it was kind of a reversal pattern, that, wasn't it? 2 legs up, bit of a trap, pushed up and off it took. There's that ATR low again, isn't it? So that ATR's around about 2 points. So I'm going to change this range to an 8 bar range. A 10 bar, sorry, is that? No, 8. I find this range chart works best when it's very close to the same ATR, and they more or less are. This is 2 now, this is 2. 2.2. So just looking at this downtrend, there's a second entry short which worked. There's a lower high. I took one of these. There's a lower high that worked. That worked nice, that did. And then you got this. But yeah, second entry short, that worked. Lower high worked. There was a second entry short there which came down, triggered and pushed up. There is a higher low there. It'd be maybe a little fell breakout. I don't know. Okay, so we got what looks like a possible small break there. I know a guy would buy $5,000 worth of SPY every 10% down. It's a great strategy, that is, especially for long-term buying. Every time the markets take a dump, I know a lot of crypto traders do that. When the markets dump 10 or 15%, they buy more. It's a great strategy. Great strategy. Hey, Speedy, how you doing, buddy? Kenny, measured move hit from the overnight. Yeah, we've had possibly a small break here, and a bearish bar. Yeah, I mean, for an investor's point of view, or however you want to do it, every time price, you know, from what I've read about crypto and stuff like that, the smart traders are buying when there's blood in the streets. Usually if the market's dropped 10 or 15%, you know, a lot of people are panicking and selling, but that's when the smart investors are buying more of the stuff. Makes perfect sense. You get a 10% drop. It's just like anything, it's going to recover. You know, same again. I mean, just looking at that daily chart, you could see as soon as things started to settle with the tariffs, it was a great time to buy. I mean, look at that. It must have been something like 18 or 20%, something like that, but great time to buy down here. But look at that. It just goes to show, doesn't it? You panic. Everyone's selling. As soon as things stable out, great time to buy. And there was obviously that one day when the thing just took off. I remember that day. It went up massively, didn't it? 600 points in a day, 650 points in a day. Great time to buy down here for sure. Every time I do that, my chart changes. Crypto, I do not agree. Soon the bear market starts. Different story with crypto, of course, yeah. I think a better strategy is kind of dollar cost averaging, but I sold mine a while ago and made a bit of money. But yeah, I mean, well, are we coming to the end of the bull market? It's hard to say. We haven't really had an altcoin season, have we, as such? There's been a few select ones, but it's hard to say. You know, I hear some crypto guys saying we could hit 200 before the end of this bull market. I think the time to buy when Bitcoin was around about $15,000, and maybe, I mean, if you look at things like ADA and XRP and HBAR and stuff like that, and SUI, they've had really good, strong moves. But a lot of the others haven't really. But I think the time to buy altcoins was 12 months ago, wasn't it? The time to buy Bitcoin was 18 months ago, but not a great time to invest unless you're planning on buying Bitcoin and you're just going to continue the dollar cost average. That's not a bad way of doing it. You know, buy $100 every month for the next 5 years or however you want to do it. But I'm talking about markets in general, whenever they have a dump. You know, obviously, like, you know, whenever you have a big drop or something, good time to buy it. But obviously, crypto is a different story. We kind of get a bull cycle and a bear cycle. I came in, the last time I bought was probably 4 or 5 years ago. I ended up getting crucified. Going up for the bear, but not a lot do though, don't they? They just, you know, there are some strategies where they say just buy a certain amount every week or every month. That way you average out your price. But I wouldn't consider buying now. You know, I would probably consider buying Bitcoin when it probably gets to around about 50, 60,000, maybe something like that. But if I was a young guy now, and I had a bit of cash, I would wait for Bitcoin to drop to 50,000 or 30,000 or something like that. And I would sit on that money for 5 or 10 years. You're going to get yourself a nice, massive pension. I mean, you can make a lot of money in crypto, but you can also lose a huge amount as well. So if you're ever going to do it, I certainly wouldn't do it yet. And I would tend to stick to the Solanas, the Ethereums, the ADAs, the XRPs and the Bitcoins, and leave a lot of the, you know, when I got in, I heard all the stories about this was going to make that. And I bought a load of shit coins and they just did nothing. I ended up losing money. So you're always best to buy something that's been around for a couple of years and got a little bit of credibility. If you're going to have a gamble, you know, and some people do, they may shove $100 in something and take a punt, but you have got to be careful. So we got a nice channel up here with one leg down. We had a break and we made a new high, but this to me looks like we may be doing a little bit of sideways. And based on what I can see, we're quite bullish at the moment, and we're really not far from all-time highs. So you're in short high. We have had a break in a new high. It's going a little bit sideways. So I'm just not sure at the moment what I think. It may come down, but it may just push up. But it does look kind of rangy, so you would probably expect it to come down. There may be something larger. Dan's just posted that. When was it? 20 minutes ago. But I think that's the main one that I'm looking at. So it'd be nice to get a couple of legs. Oh, something like that would be nice. Okay, excuse me for a second. Okay, so let's see if this is what I'm looking for, something like this. You ever see those kid ball pits on a hinge? You throw more balls at it until it finally tips over and all the balls fall out. That's what these past few days. I'm starting to really appreciate how you're drawing your channels now. There's clear improvement. They're cleaner, more accurate, and better aligned with price action. Great progress. Thank you, mate. Muchas gracias. That's about as good as my Spanish gets. Yeah, it is important to get these right, isn't it? It's amazing if you can get these accurate. It does make things a lot clearer, doesn't it? And I'm looking for a second leg down now, somewhere about there. If we can get down close to here, 2 legs down. It's a good week. Only Monday and Tuesday were bad. Wednesday good to, yeah. Depends on what you trade, yeah. Thing is, you know, it's half the battle is getting the direction right. Once you got the direction right, it's just a matter of waiting for a trade at the key entry point. But there's such a lot of these days. Like we had that push up overnight. I think general trading opened here. There's nothing you can do that. And then we had a push up. We didn't really have anything up here. We had 2 legs back. Now, Mac did mark that. But that, to me, it could be misinterpreted for a straightforward channel. You may get a break in a new low. You never quite know. And if you're not sure, in my opinion, it's always best to let it go. But there's higher low here, possibly. It's just, it push up, chop, push up, chop. There's just not a lot you can do. It's kind of shooting up and then down, and it's just a bit all over the place. At least now we're getting some kind of movement. So at least we know we're generally bullish. But the trouble is, then you all of a sudden get a big pullback like that. So I'm looking for a leg and a leg here, because as well as this, we've got to break this channel. We've got to break a new high. So that channel's played out. We've got a small channel here with a break. I'm not really bothered about that. But there's obviously something bigger there. So if we can get a second leg down here, we're going to get very close to the bottom. And very close to a bit of support. So this kind of X marks the spot kind of place. So I'm hoping we get something like that. Not only that, that would be like a penguin strategy setup on this MES. And I haven't seen one of these for quite a few days now. We haven't had much in the way of penguin setups. Looking for a couple of legs down. It was a bit messy there. I think it did take something here, but I'm looking for a move up with 2 clear legs back. We're not really getting it at the moment, but move up, 1 leg back, second. So I'm looking for a couple of legs, and then maybe we get something taking us up a little bit more. But there's not a lot you can do here, really, but 2 legs back would kind of give us something. Not only that, if we get down to here, you could take that as a fell breakout. Possible second entry long off the bottom, 2 legs down. So what I'm going to do is just open up a trade just in case. I just want to be prepared should one happen. Let me just kill that colour, because that's better. Chris, how you doing, buddy? You all right? Sam, I keep saying to myself, A+ trades only. It's a great point, that is. I've always had this issue that I think sometimes when you're trading, you can get into this kind of little cycle, can't you? And I think sometimes I watched a trader once saying every 5 minutes he gets into the habit of doing a quick self-assessment. Am I patient? How do I feel? Am I trying to rush it? You know what I mean? Just almost step away and just sort of question how I think I'm doing. And I think you're right. Saying to yourself, I think it's simple trading. In simple terms, you sit here patiently, wait for a quality setup and take it. You're done. You move on. in real terms, with emotions and money on the line, it's a little bit different. But that's the key, waiting for a trade. And I always say wait for those trades. It's like when you're driving down the road, if someone jumps out and waves in front of you, you can't miss them. And I think those type of trade. Now, there is 2 legs back. There's a doji there. Now, it may work. It's off support, but it's a bit risky for me. So I would have to have an higher low there, I think. You just never know. Sometimes they'll work, sometimes they won't. But I would much prefer to get down here a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. We just don't get a whole lot of them, in all fairness. There was one, I think, yesterday, but my bar was naff. I think that was a good setup, and a lot of people took that. But unfortunately, I kind of wasn't in the game there. My bar wasn't brilliant. We got 2 legs down on this range chart. That may work. There was a small bar here, small risk, but it was a doji, so it's just one of those. It just makes it a little bit more risky. I wouldn't say that was a great setup. There are questions there, aren't there? I would much prefer to have a little break, wick down, and maybe a bounce or something. Breakout failures. Yes, sometimes they're super clear. But if something doesn't, if something doesn't feel right, I think it's really important to listen to that voice, because that voice is experience talking. Something, you know, you've been here before. There's something about this that I've been here before and it didn't work well, so burned too many times. Yeah, being burned it is a really great way of learning. It doesn't feel like it at the time, but it is. But it's getting that feeling, isn't it? If you get that feeling that something doesn't feel right, listen to it. It's a lot of instinct, isn't it? As you get experience, that instinct plays a real part. If you get a higher low here, I would have a go at that. But we have got 2 legs down. So on that 8 range bar, there is 2 legs down, but there's something about here that just makes me a little bit nervous. You know, most traders, experienced trader, would say you got to wait for it to push above that EMA. So at the moment, there's not really much you can do. There is a possible higher low, and it may work. But if this is a channel, and we've come down so far, we got a bit of a vacant area here, which yeah, there is a higher low here. Trouble is, we could be just making 2 legs up to the EMA and come down some more, unfortunately. But we are ranging, and it is a breakout. That's worked and held. Absolutely, yeah. You kind of talk yourself into something. There was a trade yesterday, I talked myself out of it, and it worked. It was that triple test we had. Now, there is a higher low here. The trouble is, we've got a little triple top here. There's just something about here that's making me a bit nervous. Now, it may work, but it's
Order
not
canceled.
what I would call a really good setup or a great setup. So the simple answer is, if something doesn't feel right, you've just got to let it go. It doesn't matter whether it works. But you have to kind of get into that mindset. If it doesn't feel right, you just got to let it go. But looking at the bigger picture, we are clearly ranging here. You can see we're finding support. So most breakouts will fail. The overall trend is up at the moment. But because we haven't quite got down to the bottom here, I just wouldn't take a trade below the EMA at the moment, just in case we get a second entry short and it comes down, clears out any liquidity, maybe find some support along here somewhere. Yeah, there is a small channel down as well. So that could, yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Sometimes it just, if it gets close enough to here, traders might just buy, but you know, I try and have that. If something doesn't feel right, that there's usually a good reason why. So possibly a second entry short here. Not that I'd want to take a short, but it may come down and clear this. You really have to wait until you see one of these trades that just literally jump in front of you waving. They're the only ones to take, really. I know we don't get a huge amount of them, and the trouble is that leads you to, you know, as you say, kind of manufacture trades in your head. It's really easy to do that and to get into that kind of way of thinking. See, if I look at the MES, we've had that move up and we have had a bit of a correction. So that kind of would be a penguin setup. But a lot of times what you'll do is wait for it to push strongly above that EMA and take it. If it closes above that, you'll take a long ear, in which case it didn't work. So those two legs back didn't warrant a push up. The trouble is you just never know when it's going to do it or when it's going to decide to come down and visit this side of the channel. So if you took that higher low now, it triggered you for 2 or 3 ticks and then came straight down more or less and eventually stopped you out. Thing is, less is definitely more. You don't need to take a lot of trades in a week. But if you do take riskier trades and you take a few losses, it's just going to slow your week down so much. Do I adjust my target? It depends what it looks like. If it looks really strong, I'll usually keep it. Sometimes I might get out a bit early. It's hard to say, really. You know what I probably should do is just leave it, but a lot of times when it gets close to me target, I kind of bring my stop up just to cover my arse. What I don't like it if it gets up at. I took a trade maybe a couple of weeks ago. It got one tick from my profit and it came down and stopped me out. I hate that. So I don't think it's a bad option. But what I will say is if you take good quality setups, they almost always make 3 points and some. So if it's a good solid setup, I don't worry about it too much. So, I mean, if you go for something like 2 points and that, I wouldn't adjust it. I'd just leave that. Thomas Wade goes for between 2 points and 10 ticks. And 3 points now sometimes. He doesn't adjust it. He always, in fact, I don't think I've ever seen Thomas Wade get out for break even. I think he always just gets his scalp. He just leaves it. It's another thing I like about him. He doesn't mess around. So I think, yeah, what I'm saying is if it's a good enough setup, it'll work. If you look at Dan's trades or Marco's trades they've marked, you'll see very little trades are going for 3 points and are not going for 3 points. It's just nothing you can do here. It's just stacking up. We've got a leg down. We could make 2 attempts to push higher and it could come a bit lower. Yeah, hopefully with this kind of leg down, 2 attempts to push up, we may come down here and bounce. Okay, I'm just going to take a few minutes while it's kind of making up its mind. I'm just going to make a quick cup of tea and I'll be back. Triple test here, 1, 2, 3. I'm just not sure about that. It was a triple test, sure. Yeah. I don't think I'd have taken it. It's under that EMA. It's just hard to know whether it is just going to dip, clear some of this out, and then bounce. Apparently not, though. So if I'd have taken that, I've got this move up, penguin trade this, move up, 2 legs back. This I wouldn't have taken. That big strong move above that EMA is telling me after 2 legs back, it's more likely to go up. If I got in there and put me stop, probably there, I'd have been out comfortably. So the good thing is it's quite a small risk, that. So I've got that set at 3 contract. I could have probably taken 4 there and still risk less than 100. ATR is quite low at the moment, so I'm going to keep that up 4 contracts on the MES chart. Yeah, I don't think anybody's taken it that I can see. Let's see if... So that's unusual. I've just looked at Mac's chart. He hasn't got the bigger channel. He's got this with a break, which may mean channel down, 2 legs up. This may come down. I'm just not a fan of it. Yeah, Mac's got that. It's not the best looking channel, I will say. Yeah. Yeah, I quite often hear Dan say, Mac's got it like that. I don't particularly like it. I know there's nothing wrong with that. It just looks like 2 legs down and a couple of retests and then off it took. I looked at the failed breakout, but I left it. There was that little bar there, but it was a little doji. And to be fair, it worked. It never came back and got it, but we did have 3 bounces. Trouble is, there, you really need to get out before here. So there's just nothing. It's just one of those things, isn't it? It's not what I would say a great setup. It is a triple test, but trades like that are easy when we know they work. But it did move up quick, so it's one of those things, isn't it? Yeah, that's the trouble. The only the trades he ever marked are the ones that wins. So that just gives you a false sense of just. I think that does you more harm than good, seeing that. You know, from an experienced trader, it does surprise me, because every experienced trader that I know that it is a good trader talk a lot about losses and acceptance of losses, and Mac very rarely touches on that subject. And it's okay to accept losses, and it's okay So I think it would be important for Mac to show us a few trades that traders may have got caught out. He never does anything like that. And it just, I think it gives you a false sense of security. And not only that, I think it, you know, when I first started trading, and I'd look at his charts and thinking, why am I not seeing a dozen setups a day? I think it does you more harm than good. You have to be realistic in trading. You've got to show, you can't just show every trade I mark is a winner, because that doesn't really teach much. You have to show someone where the trades that looked okay after the fact, but in reality, he never shows any of that. And I think it clouds one side of trading. You have to understand that, you know, losses are a part of trading, but it's one subject he just avoids, and I don't quite know why. I think it's important to talk about stuff like that. No, I know. I don't get it. It doesn't help people. You know, I don't like to bitch on about Matt because I think he's a nice guy, but just there's stuff missing, I think, that would help. And I can say that now. I've been trading over 4.5 years, so I've been trading long enough to know what helps and what doesn't help. And seeing someone only ever mark winning trades, that does not help you. You have to talk about the tricky areas. Would I have taken that one? If you'd have taken that one, it would have lost. That's a trade, you know, inexperienced traders may have got caught, and explain why it didn't work. He never does anything like that. He just shows you a chart, go along there, go along there. It didn't do any good. Why would he show all the losing trades in a free YouTube channel? He doesn't necessarily have to show losing trades, but he needs to show you, in my opinion, trades that he would have taken and trades that inexperienced traders would have slipped up at, because there's so many different trades that you could read the market wrong. He never touches on any of that, and I think he needs to, really. Creating the unrealistic expectations that he warns about. Yeah, you have to touch on the tough side of trading. You know, but I think it's important to say, okay, if you'd have taken that trade, it didn't work because of so and so reason. Why does he need to do that? I think when you're teaching somebody something, you can't just tell them not to do something. You have to explain to them why, because you've got to understand why. You've got to understand why you shouldn't do something. I mean, there may be a second entry long gear, but, you know, there's certain reasons why you don't take it, because of this or because of that. You know, when I talk about what I'm seeing, you can listen to me kind of going over how I'm analysing this and what I'm thinking of doing. And I think it's important because you've got to try and work out what's going on here. And if you work it out wrong, you're going to get caught out. And Mac never talks about anything like that. And I think it's important, you know, you don't just tell a kid not to do something. You tell a kid not to do something because of the, you know, to every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So, you know, you need to understand the whys. You never just smack a kid on the backside or whatever, you know, I mean, you don't need kids nowadays anyway, but, you know, you've got to explain to them, you know, why you don't do something. Otherwise, they're never going to learn. You can't just say, don't do that. You've got to tell them why. I'm saying it right. My friend and I came to the same conclusion after about 2 years. When you've been trading a while, you see things a bit clearer and you understand how the markets work a bit. And I don't mean this nasty, that he's doing it nasty. It's just the way Mac does it. You know, some people are great teachers, some people aren't. But I think when you've been trading a while, it's okay to say, I wish I had that when I was a beginner, or I wish I had that because I know now what helps me. Because there are areas that you need to stay out of for specific reasons. But for a new trader, I've forgotten how hard this was when I first looked at it. You try and look how you've come on, and I look back at some of my charts sometimes. Trading is about probabilities and landing on that. It is, but you know, you have a strategy, and you have a strategy which tells you when to exit, but when to enter and exit a trade. But the difficult part is applying it to the correct context of the market. And sometimes the context isn't clear, but it's easy to get blinded by second entries when the context might be clear. I remember as a newer trader, I was taking second entries and someone's saying, you know, I would post it and Dan go, you can't take that because of this. It is a second entry, and it is a second entry long, we're going up, but you can't take it, you know, because of this. So you need to explain to people, especially newer traders. But if all you're ever seeing is someone marking winning traders, it doesn't do you any good. That's not strictly true. You're missing out a part of it. You know, you can't just see all the good stuff. You know, you have to know that the dangers out there. That's my opinion anyway. He means well, but he's deadly. Yeah, he does mean well. But this is my point of view. You know, I can see some of you don't agree, and a lot of you do. But when you've been trading, I don't think you've been trading Pat's long, Tony, of you. So I mean, you're a trader generally, aren't you? But from a Pat's point of view, a pure price action point of view, you know, there are times because sometimes I'll look at a trade and I'll think it's a bit congested, but then I see market. So, you know, there's so much grey area. But I heard Mac say once you can trade congestion as long as you can read it. But then other times he'll say 3 or more bars back to back with a doji, leave it alone. So, you know, I know sometimes he's gone on and on about going for a point. That's why it works. It only works that way. And then once he came out with saying if you can only trade 1 or 2 contracts, you've got to go for more points because the maths doesn't work. So, you know, there's a lot of unexplained grey area. Now, he may do it for a certain reason. I don't know. But, you know, when you've been trading a while, you do know what would have helped you, which took you a long time to figure it out. You know, it's like having gaps in your trading, isn't it? Gaps in your training, possibly. You need guidance, I think, don't you? But you've got to show someone that everything isn't always roses. You know, there is a tough side to trading, and, you know, there is... I won't rabbit on anymore. It makes you think there's something. I used to get so frustrated. I remember saying to my wife once, Max, he posted like 12 high probability trades. I just don't get it. So it can give you I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Just learn from Thomas Wade. Yeah. Thomas Wade doesn't do, I used to like, he doesn't post as many of his trades anymore, does he? I wish he would a bit, but, thing is, I like Mac, and he is a genuine guy, and he charges a very small amount. I just wish he'd do this. It's okay. You know, it's okay to say that. Right, what the hell do we do here? So we're still in this channel. Woof, straight down, look. But yeah. I mean, you've got to show people that it's okay to take losses. That's part, you know, it's part of learning. What if there's something like this? But yeah, you've got to be realistic. But I think when you're teaching someone, it's a good idea to talk about why, you know, if you took this and some may take this, why it didn't work, and why, you know, if you're teaching somebody something, you have to explain to them why not to do something. You just can't say to someone, don't do that, don't do that. You have to explain why, because you're not going to fully understand it. I don't think he owes me anything. All I'm saying is I wish he would do this, or I wish he would do that. That's okay. it's okay to have opinions about things. Mind you, say that Matt owes you something. I suppose if you're paying for something, for a service, you know, it's okay to say, can I have, and I've emailed Matt before and said, any chance you could just talk about some of the trades that traders may have got into that didn't work? And he went, it wouldn't help you. And I asked him again, could you say that out of all the trades you've marked, that is the trade I would have taken, and that is the trade I would have taken? And he kind of side skirted around it. I don't know why, but I never asked again. But we're just having a chit chat here, really, aren't we? We're just talking about, you know, the ifs and whats and buts. But I suppose if you pay for services, technically you're paying for something. You expect kind of something in return. But I like having a good chat sometimes. So we got, if this is a range, we've got a small breakout there, so we may get one here. This price action is just, there's just not much of it, is there? Sorry about that. God, it's warming up here in the UK. I think we got 30 degrees centigrade on Monday coming. It's getting warm today. So it's 26 degrees centigrade today. Yeah, I thought it was quite warm. Okay, so possibly a bit of a range there. Small breakout at the top. Often we get a small one at the bottom, which is why I ain't getting involved in a long here. So the trouble is, if we do get a small one here, we may that may be a break. See, I'm just looking at this from a penguin setup. We've had this move up here, and we're having 2 attempts to push lower. If we can get to these lows, clean out this liquidity and get a strong move, we may get some more movement up. Same here, really, isn't it? Kind of, it does look like 2 attempts to go lower. Trouble is, if you get down here, there may be a break there. I can't see, unless this is more of a spiking channel. In which case, actually, I prefer that. I do. In fact, let's go from the lows there. That fits at the top better. That looks much better to me. Second entry long off there. You could argue that's a triple test. Very tempting. It's a second entry long off the bottom. 1, 2, 3 off support. It's tempting, that
Order
is. See if we
submitted.
get a high or low or something. I'm going to go for
Order
that. I
filled.
don't mind that. We've cleared out any bit of liquidity here. It is 2 legs back. I'm tempted to not take so much though. It is a second entry long off support. This is not looking good. Mind you, that would be a higher low there. I don't bloody know. Let's just put it in. It's triggered that short, if anything. Let's see if it works. Still a bit congested, so I may just do that for a quick 75. I don't like it. Let me get out here. Come on. Oh, bollocks. Let's just leave the bloody thing. It is a higher low, second entry long, higher low. Trouble is it's stacking up a bit now, isn't it?
Target filled.
Okay, I'll get out for a tick. It's just, we got 4 bars stacked now. That looked okay. It didn't get me out, which is encouraging, but then we have red, green, so I'm just not willing to risk it. It is off the bottom. It may work, who knows, but what I will say is I'm going to take
Order
this
submitted.
Order filled.
on a penguin setup. And I'll show you in a sec when I get it sorted out. So I'm going to move my stop up to below that previous swing. I'll go for that move there. Oh, 2 legs back. Okay, I'll bring this in. We got 2 legs back and a strong bar there. So I'm risking $110. 2 attempts to go lower. Now, I've put that below that previous swing just in case it takes this out. But we're quite bullish and we have had 2 attempts to go lower, so I don't think that's that bad. Straight away, I'm nervous though. It is 2 legs back, isn't it? Perhaps I should just leave it. It's $110 risk. It's not huge. Little Hammer, how you doing, bud? We've got to move up. 2 attempts to go lower. Strong bounce off there.
Stop filled.
Stop filled.
You don't think it's a valid setup? I've seen that, though. I've seen him not pay attention to that too much. I'm out for a bit anyway, so... Well, I'm up a bit anyway, so... I didn't think it really mattered so much. It is 2 legs back. I know it's made a new high, but as we're in the actual, as we're in a range, sorry, excuse me, a channel, I didn't think it mattered. Hit target, you got something, did you? I was going for up here somewhere. I mean, it's a strong, you could go 1, 2, 3, it's a big strong bar right off the bottom. I mean, it is working. It would have worked, that trade. The trouble is, when we had 4 bars all of a sudden, back to back, that's when I start to go... but I don't know, perhaps I am risking a bit too much, and that's creating that little bit of a... Neo, who is Lance? Lance is me. That's me. I mean, would that work for 3 points? I suppose it would have done. Sometimes you've just got to leave it, but no, it wouldn't have done. It would have to hit there for me. Mind you, I did say I think 2 points is kind of valid, and that definitely hit 2 points. Probably going to hit that, isn't it? I'm guessing we're ranging, so it makes sense. 2 points would be there, so that's where it would have to hit for me. And I'm guessing it's probably going to get up there. I'm going to have a look at that, though. I didn't think it mattered if it made a new high. Only, yeah, so it would have worked for the 3 points. So I would have had the 3 points, but there you go. I didn't think it mattered if it was in a channel. 2 attempts to go lower. We're clearly finding some support there. I mean, it would have worked. Well, I'm guessing it would have worked. But I didn't think it mattered. If we have a break, 2 legs down and then a new high, I think you reset the count there. But maybe I'm going to have to check that one. I'll have to look into it. I mean, that would have worked for 3 points. I don't know. The trouble is, when I've had that little bit of a hiccup with those accounts, as soon as you into trade, straight away the nerves are kicking in. I thought it looked quite a good position. It's clearly a second entry long, and it's kind of off support. It triggered, came back, didn't break below, which is usually a good sign. But then when we push up and close, straight away I'm telling myself, would I go long here? Because there's 4 bars, and straight away I wouldn't, which is why I decided to get out of it for a small profit. Once that bar forms, we got 4 perfect, but so you just don't know whether it's going to have a small drop, get below that line and turn, but you never quite know, really. Yeah, Marco took that one as well. That's frustrating. And it worked. I just need to grow some balls, I think. What did Marco go for? Marco got out of it for a tick. Yeah, he did, look. So Marco was a coward like me. He got out of it for a tick. You can see his entry, and there's his exit. If you look, 23, 25, 25, 50. So he did the same as me. I hope he's not watching me, sees me panic, and then get out of him himself. The trouble is, when you get into it and that comes down and that pushes up straight away, I asked myself, would I take this long here? And because we got 4 bars stacked side by side, the answer's no, which is why I decided to get out. But yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's one of those things. Sometimes you just got to grow your balls and let it go, haven't you? There is a higher low there, absolutely. The trouble is, it's this 4 bars now stacked up. Now that might really not mean a great deal, to be honest with you, but there we go. The penguin trade is not far off. I forget where I got in. I'm pretty sure I got in here and put my stop there. So 6.75 points. So that's where I would be getting out. 6.75. That's where I'll be getting out. Whether it'll work or not, I don't know. I'm guessing it's probably going to come up and test these highs, so it may do. You know, I've had this dilemma for a long while now. Do I go for 1 contract? Do I go for 2 contracts? Do I go trade micros and go for 5 micros, which is half of 1 ES? Is that going to make me take more trades? But then I kind of think, how many genuine setups do I see a day? And I don't see a lot. So am I better off trying to maximize my profit when I do see a good setup? Or am I better off risking less and taking more trades? The trouble is, if you risk less, sometimes I find you get into riskier trades, and I don't think it always works. So I kind of, what I'm trying to think of at the moment is, if the ATR is below 3, go for 2 contracts. If it's above 3, go for 1 contract. So kind of mitigate that. That was maybe 65 probability. Yeah, I would tend to agree there. We're clearly finding some support. So that's one thing. But it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's easy when we know it worked, but in hindsight we didn't. But I was okay with that initially, but when we had that, straight away I'm thinking, would I take that? The answer's no, so that's why I decided to get out of it. That may have been why Marco got out of it. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's just kind of what we do. Think about fell second entry short above the EMA. Yeah, I don't mind so much that it's below the EMA. To be honest with you, if you're short in and long in range, the bottom is most of the time going to be, especially if it's a short range like this. If it's a long range, you've got time for that EMA to come down, and you can wait. 1, 2, 3. Will Mac mark that? We'll never know. It's a Friday. I'm guessing he probably will, as it worked. He may even mark that. I don't think it was the worst trade in the world. It's clearly bouncing off support. It is a second entry long. We've got a double top here, so there's a new count. So it is a second entry long, and it's clearly 2 legs down. So there are good things about it, and there are maybe some risky things about it. I'd like to know whether Dan took that. I don't think he did. Let me have a look. Okay, Marco said he got out because it started to stack. That's fair enough. I think I'd have entered on the next screen. But yeah. So Marco marked that as well. That did work. It is a little triple test, isn't it? Trouble is, when you're so far from this possible channel, it's one of those things, isn't it? Yeah, he got out because it's stacked. Better safe than sorry. I don't think Dan took it either. No, he didn't. Having said that, see, Dan's actually got it. Look, if you look at Dan's chart, he's actually got it bouncing off there as well. So second entry long, 2 legs down. I'm surprised he didn't take that. Especially as he's got his chart bouncing there. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Second entry long. Trouble is, another thing I mentioned earlier, we got a small breakout at the top. That may create a small one down the bottom. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? But the way I see it, Dan didn't take it and I made a tick. So I'm the laughing one. So I do. What can you do? He got in on the same one as me, I think, but let me just have a look. Yeah, He got on the same one as me. He took that one as well. Yeah, he took that first one. Channel break, new low. It is a second entry long. It is 2 clear legs back. It is off support. It is. I didn't even have that. But I think the one tell there is when it triggered and came down, that bear bar triggered and it came down, but it didn't take out that stop. That usually tells me it's probably a bit more secure than you think. But he said when he saw that bar complete, he saw 4 bars stacked, so he got out for break even +1, which is basically the same as I did. But yeah, Dan, never take it. Yeah, out just because it's stacking now. He said good luck, so he didn't take it. He thought the downtrend was wider. That's the trouble, really. It's not what I would call a great setup. It looks like a process of elimination. It is a second entry long. It is off support. But it is a process of elimination. Can you explain why that was a second entry long? Okay. Can you see we get a breakdown here and a new matching high? You can reset the count when you get a matching high. Otherwise, it will be a first entry, a second entry, a third entry. So you reset the count there. You can reset the count. So we got a matching high. So there's a first entry. We come down. When that bar breaks above there, that's a second entry. So second entry long, 2 legs back off support. So it had things going for it. And it held, which is always a good point. So yeah, so there's a first entry. We've got a matching high, so you can reset the count. So there's your first entry. As soon as that red bar broke above, second entry long. There is a higher low. The trouble is, just by where the high low is, it creates 4 bars stacked side by side, and we know when you get 3 or more bars stacked side by side, it's a riskier trade. But the fact that it had a matching low and it held, I think that gives it a little bit more credibility. But the trouble is, when you're still quite an experienced trader like me and you took a hit like I did recently, straight away the nerves cut in and the confidence starts to get eaten away at, and quite often you get out. It's weird, isn't it? You never get out early when you're in a trade and you lose. It always hits your stop. But so many times when we get into a trade, we get out for a small amount and it goes, I'd say I'm pretty certain if I left my setups where they were, I'd have made more money by doing that. But it's just the nerves, isn't it, that cuts in. But you said, I think there was 75% win rate. Maybe 60, maybe 60 with that, maybe 75. Yeah, it's just one of those things. But I suppose if you were to ride it up, you can mitigate that 75% or 60% by even just going for 1-to-1. But as it's ranging, I think there's a good chance it's going to get to the top, and it did. So, it wasn't a huge risk, I don't think. So the risk was 2 3/4. And if you got out close to the top, you could get out for 5 points relatively easy there. So, yeah, it's just, if you're playing the numbers without any emotions, you'd have probably let it go. Wrong and fear of giving back. Yeah, I haven't even made anything today to give back, but yeah, absolutely it is. It's made even more difficult by me having 5 great months and then losing those accounts. If I wouldn't have lost those accounts, if I'd have had $10,000 in my accounts now, I'd have let that go, because a small loss wouldn't have affected me. And that's the problem, really, when you're building accounts. You haven't got a lot of money and you're trying to build up to target, so you're probably extra cautious, probably too cautious. But would Matt mark that? Absolutely. I got no doubt about it. It's off support. May even that as well. He may mark it as green, but unfortunately we always get these tricky ones when Mac's off. Bounce. It is a triple test. So, I certainly think he'd mark it green. span of my trading, where I was the most profitable, I would only go for 4-point profit, win or lose. I'm too chicken now. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? How your emotions change depending on, you know. And I think sometimes when you start to make some money, like I did, I think sometimes you can get a bit overconfident there unknowingly, and sometimes you think you can get away with taking riskier trades. I mean, you could be the most profitable, richest trader in the world. It doesn't mean the market's going to give you an easier setup. But you know, this is the kind of life we choose. But you know, with time, these things, it makes sense that, you know, things get better, confidence is changed, self-belief, you know, changes. Fear of being wrong, yeah. I don't mind being wrong, I just don't want to lose the money because I'm kind of building up. Yeah, I could have done. The trouble is, I have this dilemma. If I go for less profit, sometimes I think that makes me take riskier trades. I've been the most profitable and done the best when I've been going for 2 contracts, because I get a lot more strict. Tough day, but I think it's going for all-time highs. I agree. We're only about 50 odd points off the top, so I'll be surprised if it doesn't, but we are just consolidating a bit here, so I think at some point there's a fair chance this thing is going to push up some more. So just looking on this MES, shoulder, head, shoulder. We are continuing up. If we can get a bounce here, this may decide to push higher, but it's a tough one, isn't it? You're bullish overall. Yeah, I agree. I think that's Dan and Marco have got their chart. That kind of makes that look a little better, doesn't it? Bart took it, did he? Yeah, I don't doubt it. He never gets scared to take a trade, Bart. He sees it, he takes it. So it's a good way to be, actually. Yeah. So I was looking at a possible second entry long here, but sometimes it will just push down and flush some of this before it pushes higher. I don't like assuming this is where we're working higher, because this can come down and surprise you. Bart goes for 10 ticks. Yeah, similar to me. I go for 12. Well, I will adjust it at times. The ATR is relatively low today, but if it's a good setup, 19 times out of 20, it'll push up no problem. I mean, there was plenty in the bag there. I mean, there was 5 points, depending on where you got in. NQ pushing, is it? Yeah, we have had 2 legs, haven't we? I think I marked those, didn't I? Yeah, it does. If we can get above here, it may start to move again. I'm certainly bullish at the moment. Well, you have to be really, don't you? And not only that, we have had a bit of a correction. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing comfortably hits all-time highs. I mean, you could even you could even do something like that, couldn't you? And that would comfortably do it. We've had this push up and we have really had 2 attempts to go lower. So this to me looks bullish. It does. So I think that trade I took here will work. Now, where was it I took? It was here, wasn't it? Let's just put it back. Perhaps I should have just left it. That's where I went and I put it below there. I mean, it makes sense there, but let's say put it there. So that's where I kind of would have got out. And I'm pretty confident that's going to push up. We have had 2 legs back. Well, 1 leg back plus another leg, obviously broken into 2. So that pretty much is going to work, I think. Push up, so I was push up. Perhaps I should have just left it. It did come back a bit, but it does that sometimes. And if I'd have taken that for 4 contracts, in fact, I think I've gone a bit lower than that because it would have worked out. Was it 111? So I can't remember. Yeah, it's a little bit lower than that, I think. Yeah, it's working, I think, isn't it? Taking a lag. Gonna push strong in a minute, I think. Yeah, Marco took that one there. It's quite a big bar, isn't it? It's not too bad. How you doing, buddy? Have a great sunny weekend. Yeah, it's warm at the moment. I know we got some 30 degrees centigrade. Take care of yourself for shorts today. Greetings to you all. You take it easy, pal. Good on you, mate. Yeah, shorts are definitely off the table today, aren't they, really? Your channel is yellow and your range is blue. How's it? I don't know. I change mine every different day for something or other. Sometimes it makes it more clear, doesn't it? But we know where this is going, don't we? It's certainly going above all this lot. I'm pretty sure of that. So another point and a half, and that penguin trade would have worked. I'm going to have to look into that. I didn't think it mattered. As long as we had two clear legs, I didn't think it mattered that it broke above it, because we're still in this channel. But I'll have to check about that. I'll bring it in, actually. Yeah, it's not far off working. That was around about where it was. I got in about here somewhere. 4 contracts are doing 1 something. I'm sure it was 111, the risk. I'm sure it was down here. Yeah, it was in the 20s, so it was around about here, somewhere like that, I think. So, well, we're there anyway. I've got no doubt it's going to push above this. So depending on where he, 2 clear legs up, but it'll push a bit higher once it gets above there, wherever I got in, somewhere around here. But I'm sure it was about something like that. It would take a couple of ticks. Go on, have a push. So I should have left it. There you go. The trouble is, someone says something, you just go, you question it then. I'll have to find out whether it matters. I don't think it matters, as it's still in a channel. If we'd have had 2 legs down and a new high, I think it would have. So that would have clearly worked anyway. So there we go. Whether I'd have waited when we pulled back or not, I don't know. But it clearly did what it was supposed to, what I expected it to do. See what Thomas Wade has got here. Yeah, I don't think it. No, he'd have marked it if he'd have had a trade. So I can't see him. He does write these, but it is a channel. I'm surprised he never got into them, but I'd have known. Touch. There was a triple test there. Marco took that. I don't think he usually. If he takes a trade, Thomas, he will put his post his chart, and I haven't seen one yet. But he's cautious. Thomas is. Yeah, he's not done nothing. He didn't take a trade there. It's almost not fading the rain as soon as we're trending up. Yeah. I want to fade that, dear. Especially when it's bounced off here. I'm guessing now we're above this, we may get a couple of legs back and then some stuff up. So, are we going to see all-time highs? I'd say absolutely, easily, I'd say. Let's find out again where they are. We're not far away. We're probably only 40 odd points away. I might celebrate with another whiskey if we do. Any excuse. Yeah, we're not far away, are we? Let me have a look. Let's just kill that. Okay, where's that thing come from? Okay, let's get it accurate. So, somewhere around about there. So, let's lock that off. And extend. We are extended, right? Okay, all-time highs, give or take a tick or two. Yeah, we're a tick above it, mind you. You can mess around with that, can't you? Let's unlock it. Let's get it right. There we go. All-time highs. How quick has that recovered? Amazing, really. In it 2.5 months, boom, straight back up there. Okay. So, here we go. Yeah, we're not far off. 30 points. Oh, still quite a bit. 52-ish points. Okay. Sorry about that. And how strong is that? Now, we got close to it here and close to it again. So it's hard to know. Now, if you're swing trading this, you may be taking profits as this thing goes up. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing decides to sort of pull back a little bit. You just never quite know. So let's get back onto the... Sorry, lad. So I'm guessing we may get a little pullback here. Got to go. Thank. Yeah, you're welcome, bud. You're welcome. I'll fly you trade recaps live stream. What time is it? Okay. Free friends are the best guys. They certainly are. I've took my glass downstairs. I had one. I bought a bottle earlier at the shop. A Bunnahabhain Strudadair, 46% single malt. I've had one. I tend to not drink so much when I'm trading now. But I usually have a double on a Friday. I might have a couple of doubles later. Yeah. Keeps the blood flowing. God, it's so frustrating. Once we get up here so far, there's nothing we can do now. We've got to kind of wait for something, haven't we? That's the frustrating thing. It's like this. Once it starts to take off, there's not much you can do. Then you've got to kind of sit through this. But yeah, I did take that. And then obviously when we had that again, I got out because it was stacked up only for it to go on to work. But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's one of those things. I just don't like losing on a Friday. I like to have a green day on a Friday or a 0 day. Let's get drunk and blow everything. Been there, done that. Well, I've done that with evaluations. I had half a bottle of scotch one night and blew 10 evaluations maybe a year and a half ago. They were 90% off at the time, so the damage was minimal. I could hear something. My audiobook's playing away. Oh. Iron Maiden, eh? They've been around for a long time, Iron Maiden, haven't they? Donkey's years. Got to be since the 70s, isn't it? Late 70s, got to be. I went through a phase of liking that stuff when I was younger. It was around about the time groups like Marillion were out, which I suppose is around about that Iron Maiden time. It was all kind of Led Zeppelin, Iron Maiden, Motorhead, Black Sabbath, stuff like that. In fact, Ozzy Osbourne's got a gig. I think it's in the West Midlands. It's coming up soon. I think it's his last one. I think there's a bunch of bands there, but we've got What's It just started. Glastonbury at the moment just started. I went to see the Rolling Stones in the 90s, the early 90s, I think, early 90s, at Wembley. Last one, isn't it? Yeah. He's getting a bit old now, isn't he? I'm surprised he's still going, the amount of drugs he's taken. He's certainly going to get to the end of his life bruised and battered, isn't he? Put it that way. Yeah, I was watching Sharon Osbourne talking. She's skin and bone, she is. She's really aged since the X Factor days, isn't she? But yeah, he is a big legend, isn't he? Just from up the road, 45 miles from where I live. 78, wow. I'm surprised he's still going for 78. I mean, God knows how much drugs he'd have taken during the 80s and 90s. That's not considering the amount of alcohol I dare see drunk. Yeah, they're all getting older now. It's a shame, really, isn't it? So in the 90s, did you really? I thought he was down. Is it just me, but I haven't had a setup for a second entry short, second entry long, all day. Yeah, there's not been a huge amount, has there? That one was a bit... I know Marco took that, not my kind of cup of tea, just in case. But 1, 2, 3, yeah. I mean, it is a triple test, if you like. It is a second entry long. It is 2 legs down. So you'd expect it to work. And hey, presto, it did. But it did look a bit sketchy. It did look a bit sketchy. So when that one appeared, that's when I decided to get out. So the trade I did take on the MES clearly would have worked. 2 legs back. But someone mentioned they think the account resets when it makes a new high. I'm going to have to look into that. I'll be Osmo's. How much is crazy, isn't it, back in the day, what they used to do? Different world, wasn't it? I mean, he's been looking rough for years. In fact, he had a bad accident, didn't he, a bunch of years ago, didn't he? He had a quad bike accident or something, didn't he, in his, on his land somewhere. In fact, I actually saw his daughter, Kelly Osbourne, singing. I went to watch a Robbie Williams concert at Nebworth in the 90s. And they had, I think Kelly Osbourne was there, Ash was there, Moby was there. I used to like Moby. Who was the other rock band that was there? Oh, what are they called? The Darkness, they were there. Obviously, Robbie Williams there. That was a good concert. That was 125,000 people. That was one hell of a hot weekend. That was at Nebworth. That was. So I think it's probably our biggest site in the UK. Darkness were good. Moby was fantastic. This is a tough day. I might knock it on the head, actually. I've done about 3 hours and 20 minutes. I start trading at 1:30 now. Just had a nice second entry long on the 500 tick chart. Let's have a look, see what we missed. I think Penguin trades that 500 tick chart. Oh, down there somewhere, 2 legs back. Yeah, it looked clearly 2 legs back. You kind of expect that, wouldn't you? Yeah. There's always something performing, isn't there? There's always something that looks good. Okay, I'm going to knock on the head today. I'm a little bit green, not much, I think, after fees about, let me have a look. 20, 25, and I took one earlier on my $150 on my TraderFi account. So not a lot this week. It's been quite a quiet week, but it hasn't been the best of weeks, has it? But it only takes a couple of good days to kind of set your week up, doesn't it? Trading 2 contracts, you get a couple of good trades over a couple of days, $600. I'm more than happy with that for a week. So I'll leave you guys to it. So have a great weekend. Remember, a week today, you US guys will know. 4th of July, so most of you guys will be getting filling your bellies and getting leathered. So that's a week today. So I'll be back on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe. Enjoy your weekends, and we'll be there next week, and we will do it all again. Bye for now.